Plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge. What's up, Dad?
Can't stop me now.
Good evening, San Antonio, and welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger. I'm James Pledger. You can follow me on Twitter at @IamPledger. You can, of course, tweet at the station at SA Sportstar. Thanks for joining me this evening as we take a look back at some of the things that have happened today and get you ready for what's going to be Rangers and Angels. Rangers on their first 3-game losing skid of the season. They get set to try and break that tonight as they take on the Angels up in Arlington. 6:30 is going to be your pregame right here on your home for Texas Rangers baseball. Of course, Michael, hold the line. I know you're there. You've won those tickets to go see the San Antonio Missions. I will get your information here in a little bit and get you all set up for those tickets. But first things first, you heard Joe talking about it in the update. SEC schedule's dropping in less than an hour now. 58 minutes from now, we will know what the SEC schedule looks like, and we're starting to get a couple of leaks come in and out of different news verifications. And the Texas Longhorns, they're going to have to start off in Aggieland, but we do get the Texas A&M rivalry back in 2024 when Texas moves to the SEC. They also have to go to Arkansas from what's being reported, and they've got home games at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium against Alabama and Georgia. It's going to be a rough one. So you look at it, every team in the SEC will play either Texas or OU in that first year. Now, they could go to 9 games or they could stick with the 8-game schedule. But remember, in 2024, along with having to play Georgia at home, Alabama at home, A&M at A&M, Oklahoma at the Cotton Bowl like they always do, they're also going to have to play Michigan that year at Michigan, UTSA at home. Like, they've got a pretty rough schedule in 2024 for their first year in the SEC. And their first year in the SEC was going to be rough anyway, just because you're playing in the SEC. But now you've got some away games. You've got some really, really tough home games. So it is shaping up to be quite the introduction into SEC football when Texas finally gets into the SEC coming next year. That's a brutal task. So you look at it. This could be Quinn Ewers' last year on the 40 acres. Quinn Ewers looks different. He cut his hair. He looks like he got in shape this offseason. They're going to have to make some hay this year in the Big 12, in their final year in the Big 12, because next year may be rough, because if this year goes the way a lot of people are planning, with the receiving depth that they have, the quarterback depth that they have, and the fact that Quinn Ewers, fully healthy, recovered from that AC joint separation he suffered last season, SC joint sprain, they're in a prime position to capitalize in their final year in the Big 12, and they better. You're going to have Arch Manning likely taking over the reins, because if the season goes like it's supposed to, and Quinn Ewers is one of those Heisman candidates, he's probably gone after this year, joining the first-round class that will include Drake May and Caleb Williams. You add Quinn Ewers to that mix. You talk about Michael Penix Jr. up there at Minnesota. Cam Ward. Like, there are a lot of good quarterbacks coming out in this next year's draft. Quinn Ewers could possibly be one of those. And if he plays the way that, he's been touted ever since he was at South Lake Carroll, then there is a good chance that he could find himself saying deuces, going to his pro career and being a first-round pick at the end of the season if all things work out. But it's definitely definitely going to be a brutal welcome into the SEC for the Texas Longhorns. Some other good news coming out of college football, and you hope it's good news. Aside from the rivalry of Texas and Texas A&M being back, being consumed, hopefully, what you would hope, what you pray for, is Thanksgiving weekend 2024 or Thanksgiving Day 2024, even better so, up there in College Station. That would just make everything feel right and feel whole again. But other great news coming out of college football, at least you hope it's great news and you hope it's for the right reasons. The Texas Tech Red Raiders have announced their Hall of Fame class that are going into what they call their Hall of Honor. And on that list, you see a couple of people that deserve to be there and probably deserve to be there quite some time ago. One of which being former quarterback, New Braunfels Unicorn, Cliff Kingsbury, who was also the team's head coach in Lubbock forever. He left school as a player with 39 of their records, 16 Big 12 records, 17 NCAA records, and one of the top passers in college football when he finally left Texas Tech and ended up in New England with the Patriots before getting into coaching and eventually coming back home to Tech, being the head coach there. He is currently now, after being fired from Arizona this past offseason, the offensive coordinator at USC. But he's coming home. He's going to be a part of that class. Congratulations to Cliff Kingsbury. Great guy. But also on that list, going into their Hall of Fame, being inducted into their Hall of Honor, former head coach Mike Leach, the winningest coach in program history, forever changed the offensive side of the ball up there in Lubbock and in college football to an extent with his offense, the air raid offense, and really airing things out and spreading them wide. It changed everything. But the way he was unceremoniously exited from the program was an issue with a lot of people. He was in a legal battle with the school until his death this past year. And you start to wonder, because most of the comments, when you start looking at the tweets that they're sending out, should have paid him his money. Did you pay him his money? You should have paid his money with interest to his family. And so you start to wonder, well, is his family going to be at this event? Does his family want to be at this event? Is he still in a legal battle, or is his family still in a legal battle with the school over what had happened? Because he was done dirty here in San Antonio at the Alamo Bowl for what had happened with Craig James Jr., Craig James' kid, putting him in the shed, suffering the effects of a concussion and stuff like that. And all the time, now we're looking at the divisiveness between the school and Leach, whether he was at Washington State or even at Mississippi State. That thread kind of held on, but Tech fans have always wanted this to go away and have long said there is the curse of Mike Leach on this program, and they will not win again until Tech finally pays Mike Leach his salary, puts this all to bed, and can move on. So it's just interesting to think that we've come this far with them putting him in his rightful place in their Hall of Honor, but there is still the overhanging question of, are all things good between the Leaches and Texas Tech? Or is this their first olive branch into trying to smooth over the situation since he passed away this past season? I'm James Pledger. You're locked into Extra Innings right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, ESPNSA.com, SASportsStar.com, and, of course, You can follow along on our YouTube channel. Go to SA Sports Star, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. We're going to get you ready for a bunch of things, including, as the Blitz teased just a few minutes ago, I've got tickets to go see Nothing More coming up. I'm going to give those away on my Out the Door with kind of the best thing I've seen today when I pour one out the door as we get you ready for the Texas Rangers. But coming up, I heard some things on R&R this morning that it kind of choked me up. It made me happy, and I want to give them their props for finally coming around to the side of the ball that I've been trying to get them on for so long as the NFL season is bearing down on us, plus getting you ready for Rangers Angels coming up at 6:30 right here on Extra Innings with Pledger. I'm James Pledger. This is San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM and SASportsStar.com.
The Rangers host the Angels in Game 3 of their 4-game series tonight at Globe Life Field. Hi, everybody. This is Matt Hicks inviting you to join Jared Sandler, Mike Peasley, and me. Our coverage of tonight's game gets underway at 6:30
on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Jason Minix here from the Blitz with Colin Flume, the CEO of Noble Gold and NobleGoldInvestments.com. The process of buying gold, you guys at NobleGoldInvestments.com have made it extremely easy. Talk about the streamlined process.
Well, I think, first of all, it took many years to get to that streamlined process. And the other thing, too, we don't sell 5,000 different coins and bars. There are a lot of products out there. We've streamlined them to the most traded bullion coins and bars on the market. We've done all the research. We know what people are buying and selling every day. And so when you look at central banks buying gold and silver, they're buying the same products, maybe smaller, but the same type of products that you bought from us at Noble Gold.
Go to the website NobleGoldInvestments.com. Do it today. And you're welcome to use promo code STAR for a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin that they're offering people that qualify. NobleGoldInvestments.com. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
When you're drinking a frozen beverage from McDonald's, your brain may not like how refreshingly cold it is, but the rest of your body, oh yes, it's gonna relish every moment of it, because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
There's no better way to cool down than with this cool deal. Get a medium frozen Coke, frozen Dr. Pepper, or frozen Fanta for just $1.79. Prices at participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Get the last water softener you'll ever own and tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE Kinetico.
Visit KineticoSA.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
I'm James, senior apparel designer, and this is Behind the Design with Blue Ranch Wear. This is your true, unfiltered Western brand. There's a beauty in the simplicity of the product to be able to move, but still have that classic Western sensibility. rigid out of the box. You put on your back and it just wears with you year after year of wearing the product. So it just becomes yours. Blue Ranch wear, only at Boot Barn.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
When traveling to the coast, make sure you bring along the guys from 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Listen anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM and sasportstar.com. Of course, you can get us in a multitude of ways. The easiest for me is going to be via our YouTube stream. Just search SA Sports Star, subscribe, like, and you can comment along like Jonathan C. did. He said, all in favor to call Pleasure's listeners the pledges of allegiance. Say aye. Look, R&R, I was listening this morning, and they had some interesting conversations, one of which involved Trent Dilfer and his take on NIL and players entering the transfer portal, to which he said, like, his job is to get guys there to UAB. And UAB is on similar footing of UTSA. And if players leave for a better program, like Zachary Franklin did for the Roadrunners this season, and he ends up at Ole Miss, makes a whole bunch of money in NIL, then I'm doing my job because I've got the player's best interest at heart. And it's true, because if you're growing that talent, developing it, and having it go to other places, I believe deep in my heart that you're doing what you feel is best for the kid. And if they've got a chance to go make more money, you've put them in a position to succeed. And if I was a kid that was a player that was not recruited by the biggest of the programs, but felt that I could take my game to another level, I would want to play for a Trent Dilfer so that I could be put in a position and not, held back from doing what is it maybe in my best interest to possibly either get me to the next level, whether you're talking about in the NFL or even just getting me paid before making my transition to the NFL. And as a person, a lot of people are like, yeah, it's easy to say, you've got money, you're not worried about being fired. Sure, but also if I'm a player and I see that he's putting my best interest at heart, I'm going to want to play for that coach. So he will get the best of the rest when it comes to recruiting. And I think that's very important. I think that's a great way to look at it. I know you don't as a stepping stool type program in a lot of instances, but you got to evaluate where you are currently, and UTSA just doesn't have the facilities to keep up with the Alabamas right now. So maybe you are that program that gets you to the next level to be that next program in the future. It's just a thought, but I know if I was an under-recruited player, Trent Dilfer would be very high on my list of coaches that I want to play for. Another thing on R&R, they were talking about NFL talent and stuff this morning, and I was actually shocked to hear this from Rudy J himself.
What do you think of the Houston Texans? Where's their talent level?
See, because they're relying so heavily on young players, whether it be first or second year, I don't know. Like, when I look at the 20 breakout Pro Bowlers, Will Anderson Jr. is on there. I'm like, really? I mean, I guess. But I love what they've done. On paper, they look great. Again, I'm going to log the most Houston Texan minutes that I've ever logged in my entire NFL fandom. I cannot wait to watch this young team.
If Will Anderson makes the Pro Bowl, and the expectation is running back could be a Pro Bowler as well.
Damian Pierce is the real deal.
You add in the extra talent.
CJ, and then you got Bobby Trees, and you got Michi, and you got the Dalton Schultz. You see I put that "the" in front of him? The Dalton Schultz.
One of the bigger upgrades of the offseason, Houston, I think.
Shaq Mason, re-signed Laramie Tunsil.
See, you're getting to where
now.
We're going to have to start discussing why they're not winning. Now, see, the thing is, they didn't even get to the point. Sometimes when you make that leap, like Detroit Lions, they go from awful to what they did last year. Like, we're putting that on the Texans before they even make the leap in the win column. But it feels like Detroit, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does feel like it.
I love hearing that in terms of people seeing finally what is being put in the background all off season with the Houston Texans. But can the Spurs not make a similar type jump this upcoming season? You add a Victor Wembanyama, maybe you trade back up and get another high-end prospect, or better yet, you use a lot of these assets that you've acquired and go and trade for, I don't know, a Bradley Beal, who apparently may be looking to get out of Washington all of a sudden, and Washington is listening to Beal, and Beal does have a full no-trade clause, so he gets to decide where he ends up, obviously. But the conversation can now be had with him is he a possibility? Much like Damian Lillard, is he a possibility? Could you go out and swing a trade with all of this built-up draft capital that you have and go get that player to pair with a Victor Wembanyama along with the players you have? Or you've got money. Maybe you go through free agency. You add yourself a Chris Paul as a veteran presence and calming influence in the backcourt that gives you leadership at that position. And then you bring in a Brook Lopez in the front court to bring some of that veteran leadership, but also with Brook Lopez championship experience to a team that could go from worst to not first, obviously, but start to compete, start to be very highly seeded to where as Victor Wembanyama grows into the player that he will become, and he is expected to be an immediate impact type of player, along with a Devin Vassell who was fully healthy after missing most of the year with a knee injury and then rehabbing or low managing that knee. Keldon getting another year developed. Jeremy Sohan possibly developing another year. You can see the pieces in place on this team to where if you add a couple of key veterans around this young squad, it could be very dangerous, very much like the Houston Texans have. Hey, I'm James Pledger. Thanks for tuning in for Extra Innings. We've got Rangers baseball coming up next, but if you'd like to go see nothing more, be caller number 10 right now, 656-ESPN, 656-3776.
For over 17 years, the award-winning legal team at George Salinas Injury Lawyers has been representing personal injury victims all across Texas. Have you been injured in an accident? George Salinas is ready to represent you with free consultation.